the Educators Association, who's hosting this tonight as a result of Mark Gallipo's Facebook group that he created about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And we are here to do a few different things tonight. Before I start and talk about what kind of how this came about and what we're going to do tonight with a little agenda and some ground rules, we have a couple guest speakers. Carol Mills is here from Senator Mark Leno's office, and she's going to come up first and address you.
Good evening. I bring you greetings from Senator Leno, and quite frankly, I'm here to listen and hear what you all have to say and hear what the situation is here in Rohnert Park. And I thank you for including me and asking our office to come and participate.
And also here to speak to you tonight is Jenny Calloway from Assemblymember Jared Huffman's office.
Good evening. Thanks so much for organizing this, Mark, and all of you teachers. You're doing a great job this week getting all over the state and getting that word out about how we need to support education. So I applaud you for those efforts, and for everybody that's here tonight, I also thank you for coming in, for including us. Jared and Mark Senator Leno and Assemblymember Huffman would be here if they could, but they wanted us to come and in a show of support for your work. And both of our members support these tax extensions and know what dire straits a school district like this will be in should they not be approved. Jared is committed to coming back to meet with the school district, and he wants to bring with him Superintendent of Public Instruction Tom Torlakson. Their office is working hard, trying to prepare for the terrible situation that we're in right now and for worse things to come should the economy not turn around and should we not be able to get these tax extensions. So we support you, we're listening, and we're going to do our best to try to help be creative with you and figure out what we can do. Thank you.
Okay, so as I mentioned briefly, the reason we're here tonight is that we wanted, as an organization, as an association, to do a community event with this week of action that's going on across the state. And we began by talking about perhaps showing a film about the plight of education funding and all these things that are going on. And it didn't quite pan out, and as that was in progress, the Facebook group was started, and there was suddenly this kind of outcropping of contributions and comments and dialogue, and we thought, hey, we've got a space and this fits with what we want to do. So tonight we're going to have a few things out in the lobby that have to do with our California state of emergency. And before I go on, because I didn't write in my notes, si alguien se necesita traducción a español, está disponible allí para ustedes a la derecha, y Ana tiene la mano levantada. Okay, thank you. So these are out in the lobby. There are postcards. You do not need to address them, except to either Senator Mark Leno or Assemblymember Jared Huffman. There are envelopes out there to put your message on the card and then tuck it in the envelope, and we will deliver them to the office, all en masse. So no stamp needed, although you're welcome to take one and mail it on your own if you would like. There are also flyers in español y también in English that describe the cuts that education is facing right now and may face in the near future if we don't get things headed in the right way. And it tells you where you can call, where you can email, and there's a rally on Friday. There are several in the state, the closest one probably in San Francisco, and it tells you where and when. So those are out there in the lobby also. You can always take one and hand it to your neighbor when you go home. All right, so we have a little agenda. So we've kind of gotten to what is going on beyond the lobby activities and the tables. There will also be a little break as we go on tonight, and there will be some refreshments, cake and punch in the lobby, so we can talk and take a break and refuel our brain sugar levels. There will be ground rules for the conversation tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and go to that page right now. So we do have the event being recorded so that we can share it with others, post it out there, so we want you to know that you may be on film somewhere, and perhaps link to the Facebook group, even if it's just for us to share with people who couldn't make it tonight from the Board of Trustees or with our superintendent that is incoming. I don't think he's here. He has arrived. Okay, so I will get to that in a moment. So you'll be recorded. We have no official order of speakers except that there are 2 microphones down in front on the floor, and you line up and we will take comments, questions, whatever comes up as you line up, and we'll go back and forth and not being sure of how many people would be here and what kind of comments would come up. We put a time limit for 2 minutes per speaker, and we do have somebody in the front row with a timer that has a nice loud beep at 1 minute and then 3 beeps at 2 minutes, just so you know as the time is passing. This is not intended to be question and answer. It's more to be a place to share ideas, questions, concerns, all of those things, visions perhaps that we have going forward. But if there is a question that we can answer, I'd be happy to do that. Sometimes it's just something that people want to know and we have the information. So we're going to try to compile the questions, answers, comments, concerns, and have them available for you and for anyone else who maybe couldn't attend but wanted to. And again, they'll probably be out there in Google Docs, and we'll link it again to the Facebook group. And we're hoping that it's all, trying to sum it up in a few words, I came up with constructive, helpful, and sincere. So we know we have challenges, and we're looking for ways to overcome them and to do better with what we do as a community altogether. Okay, so before I do this quick presentation, which has some information that you may have seen or may not, there are a variety of folks here tonight that have taken their time to come hear what people have to say and be present. So we have 3 members of our Board of Trustees, Karen Pulley and Mark Orlov, if you wave or and also Ed and Karen Pulley and Ed Delardi have been joined by our incoming superintendent, Dr. Robert Haley. Also here tonight from Rohnert Park City Council, we have Amia Nodu and Josie Kemp. If anyone else snuck in, I have not been notified, so we're not trying to leave you out. Okay, so a few charts and graphs, and I may have to dislodge this microphone and walk that way so I can see it up there. Something about looking there feels better than looking at the screen. So this chart is a graphic of Proposition 98 funding. So the blue line is what Proposition 98 guarantees the schools, and as you can see, the guarantee is not so good because the red line down below it shows what we've been funded actually every year since 2005-2006, which is the last time schools were fully funded at the Proposition 98 levels. These are from the Legislative Analyst's Office, and the year at the very end, where you see that dotted line funneling over the cliff, would be where we are going to be if the tax extensions do not occur. So it looks bad, and it looks worse, and it may be an estimate, but it still looks very scary. Okay. The actual funded base revenue limit. This is something that people who've been trying to figure out what can we do for Rohnert Park have been asking. Is what are we funded, what Santa Rosa get, what's Petaluma get, and of course there are many other districts around, but those are the ones that seem to come up. So Cotati Rohnert Park is a unified school district, so we are funded at 1 rate per student that is enrolled in our district, and you can see the number there. That's the current year funding. And Santa Rosa is funded at an elementary level and a high school level because they're not unified, and you can see the funds per student at those grade levels, and Petaluma has the same scenario. So these are, I guess, out there in the statistics world, but these came directly from figures that are on spreadsheets that the districts have been working with for this school year. And you can see it looks like Rohnert Park Cotati is funded higher than maybe Santa Rosa or Pendleton Elementary District, but because we have a high school in there too, we have some other factors. So the big question that does come up, and it might be in your mind, is how do we fix this? And it has to be fixed by legislation. And the only way to fix it, we can't, all vote on it right here, right now. We can't decide as a school board. We can't tell, the new superintendent fix this for us because it has to be done by legislation. So we can make a change, but it has to be a big one at the state level. This lovely pie chart shows where the general fund revenue comes from. So I think it's big enough to see everywhere in the room. The biggest piece here that is the challenge for California is the little pink wedge, the 10%. And that shows the amount of our general fund revenue that comes from corporate income tax. And it really should be much bigger, but that is what it is at this point in time. It says estimates 2011-12, so I don't have current year numbers, but they're probably very close. This shows the difference. So if you take that little pink wedge and make it the little short bar over there, that's the current estimated funding from income tax from corporations. And the bigger bar is the rate it was funded in 1980-1981 by corporate income tax. So as you can see, we've lost a big piece of our state general revenue funds from corporations not paying as larger percent of the taxes. So the shift has really happened to land on personal income, and with all the other things going on, it's just not making the pot full enough of money. A lot of you know about Prop 13 being a big cause of challenges to our funding of education, so this just kind of highlights some of the challenges it created over time with the limits on the property tax rate, especially if you skim down to how if corporations hold the property, it never changes ownership because they don't die. And so a huge piece that says it's estimated to be about $5 billion a year does not come in property taxes from those properties owned by corporations. This is, this one I have to read very closely because I know the words at the bottom are tiny. So this is showing the change in growth of net income of corporations compared to adjusted gross income of personal income taxpayers and then the median wage. So it shows that growth in net income for corporations since 2001, and this is through 2008, grew 411%. So corporations are making the money. A lot of people heard about GE making lots of money and finding a way to pay nothing in taxes. So the money's there, it's not coming into the general fund, and we're struggling to find a way to get that money to the general fund so it can come back to our communities.